I was interested in work that I saw in New York in the 70s that used photography in a completely unique way for me, more ephemeral works of art, things that could disappear or only existed for a minute that needed to be documented with a camera. The most important thing to me when I started to shoot my first photographs, which would be the late 70s, was that I was an artist using photography as a tool and not a photographer. I was making these setups in my studio, juxtaposing pieces of furniture, walls, wallpaper, tops of books, just everything was a crazy, chaotic mess, and yet, in the end, I had a very still, quiet moment where I'd frozen time. I was conscious of creating another kind of reality that was pristine and still and quiet and beautiful and lots of times devoid of people because life felt very chaotic to me. I expected the viewer to believe that they were entering a real place that really existed, a place where time stood still.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Wish you had a punch you didn't, wish you woulda, but you're not.
In making this movie, I did something that I've always wanted to do, which is to literally bring my work to life.
Hey, listen, Todd, I'm so sorry.
No, Ted, it's all right, honestly. The best man got the promotion. End of story.
Thanks.
Nice tie.
Thanks.
I should have worn a red tie to the interview.
No.
Green, with white spots. What the hell was I thinking?
I cast these puppets because I thought that they were great looking. And I really believed that they could carry a narrative.
Donnie?
Yeah?
Remember last Father's Day when we went downtown and bought ties for our dads with our lawn money?
Sure.
And we both liked that red striped tie?
I don't remember.
And you said how dumb it would look if our dads walked into work wearing that same tie?
Yeah.
I got a chance to revisit my work and figure out what would happen if suddenly I was looking at the photograph and characters started to talk to me or sing or dance.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
The hand puppets were designed to be contributing members of a community. So there are businessmen and housewives and doctors and nurses and grandfathers.
But I didn't know I did, and so I'm not.
The challenge of making a movie was really making a movie. The initial image is like one of my photographs, but everything's moving, everything's talking, everything's in color.
She is gorgeous.
I had to think about things in a way that I'd never thought about them before, with a kind of depth and breadth that was unimaginable to me before I actually did it.
What is it you're trying to say, May?
I just never thought you were capable of being so divisive.
Divisive?
It means sneaky.
I know what it means.
You ought to. You live it.
We never saw it coming.
Well, how are Danny and May handling it?
Good as can be expected, Jerry.
I guess that promotion meant more to Todd than anybody thought it did.
Jane and I thought he was a shoo-in, but your boy got it. We were all pretty surprised.
My inner life about my own work was very theatrical and very narrative, but that's something I was always afraid to express because I came of age in a time when cool distance in the work and a more conceptual turn of mind was very important. It was very important to me. So I had a very secret inner life about the pictures that I was making. I had music in my head that was sort of playing while I was shooting. The opportunity to have my interest in music and my interest in these visual images kind of converge in this movie was very important to me. It was very emotional for me.
We learned all the rules from the Fix-It book for fools. It's a book we like to read.
Two is a different story because those dummies are dummies that I had made for a series of works that I made in the early 90s. The dummy is such a metaphor for lying and telling the truth, the way the ventriloquist is able to say whatever he or she wants to say through this other character. They're absolutely identical except for different suits of clothing. The series was called Clothes Make the Man, and it was about these kind of minute differences in the way we look or the way we act that make us feel like we're so profoundly different. The original idea was to use the girl dummy all the way through Act Two. As the music became more complex, as the emotions and the thoughts became more complex, I wasn't sure that a puppet could carry Act Two. And that was when I decided that the puppet would become a real woman.
Neath the Killahanamuna,
Singing ahi ahi tuna
for a man of Vakalu, Vakalulula.
You're my kalani vahine.
You're my puna helakana. You're my makalapulani, makalapulani da.
It would have been too uncomfortable to think about Meryl Streep portraying me in the movie. The first time I saw her, it was very unsettling. We met at the wig shop, and I walked in, and Meryl had her back to me, and she stood up and turned around, and I saw her in the dark wig, and there was one moment where, whoa, this is very eerie, this is very odd. She became the character. It wasn't about me anymore. Act One really did give me a chance to explore love within a family and love among neighbors and problems in a family and problems with neighbors.
And then I just need another little signal to get for playback, and then we go right into the song. So you may not know what that signal is, or I may just feel it and tell them to hit playback.
Act Two has an element of romance. The action between the girl and the dummy and the sad love songs and the wistful, regretful mood. Maybe because I was thinking so much about the American songbook and musicals and moving a narrative forward. Maybe that's why romance finally came into my work.
It's a very interesting mix of being in a love song and standing outside of it and seeing the mechanics of how it works. All the layering of the backgrounds and the laid-in rain or snow and all the things that conspire to make us believe in these romantic ideas.
The fever broke, it can't be fixed. There's fog when hot and cold are mixed. It's getting cold out here.
I was really impressed by her in how she was able to make a lyric. I think of her as a visual artist. It's a hard thing to do, to match a lyric to a melody, and she did it beautifully and made it easy to kind of have an emotional flow through the music.
Okay, number one.
2, please.
I remember when I first thought about shooting the objects on legs, I was thinking, I need to do something different. So the first one that I shot was the camera, and I placed it on a friend of mine, Jimmy DeSena. He taught me everything I know about photography. It seemed so fitting to put this camera on top of him, put a pair of white tights on him, and photograph him as Jimmy the camera. I always saw the walking objects as being a more physical expression of my work. So ending on the note of the dance seemed completely appropriate to me. I chose the pocket watch to be the star of Act 3, the character that would elicit the most sympathy and the most compassion. I knew the birthday cake with her pink toe shoes would get the part. And the pocket watch longed to get the part, never had a chance to show her stuff.
Thank you. Lovely work.
And really maybe was the best for the part, but nobody really noticed.
Okay, everybody, thanks so much for coming. Good night. Right there. Perfect.
And then we wonder what would have happened if the pocket watch got to actually dance in front of the producer, choreographer, director.
Let's just go through this, yeah?
The whole thing with her is which is what you're doing, as much of the stage as she can take, because it's her stage, her moment, and I think it's...
That's why,
Yeah, I think it's happening.
Okay.
Oh, nice. I'm very interested in stopping time and starting time. There is that aspect of time that I'm playing with, that it's elusive and unnoticed, yet really, in the end, the most important thing. Regret is the prevailing emotion, the prevailing thought that brings the 3 acts together. It's very much about the different guises of regret, the notion of regret. So it ends on a note of really what might have been if I just had a chance.
To learn more about Art 21, Art in the 21st Century, and its educational resources, please visit us online at pbs.org. Art 21, Art in the 21st Century is available on DVD. The companion book to the program is also available. To order, call PBS Home Video at 1-800-PLAY-PBS.